Hi, this is Beth Forrester, and I'm here today to show you how to create an HDR composite image using a studio shot with an HDR background. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to select the quick selection tool. Now, the quick selection tool is a great extraction tool. It's really intuitive. In this version, I'm in CS6. I feel like CS6 is when it became really, really intuitive and got a lot better. So it improved again in CC, so I just wanted to start with 6 so you could see that you can do this in 6 as well. So I've started the selection already. I'm going to go on and keep adding to the selection. So what we're going to do is we're going to extract this image, and then we're going to take this studio shot and place it with another image from the Photoded's HDR, one of the HDR sports set that we've added of Peter Talkies, and we're going to combine these two images together to create something totally unique and not even having to go out of the studio. So as you can see, I'm going around here. I'm continuing to make the selection. One of the things is once you make this selection, it's going to create a mask, so you can always fine tune it later on as well. Sometimes I do this like really, really quickly if I'm just sort of making it for a proof or something to sort of for somebody to get an idea of what it's going to look like. I don't feel like I have to go and fine tune it in at the size that my clients are going to see it. But then later on I can go back and really fine tune it if that's something that they order from. So I'm going around here. If you need to erase something or something that you don't want to be selected, you're going to hold down the Alt or the Option key, and then you'll see this minus sign show up, and that means that you can take away from that mask. And we're going to do that in a second because there's one little piece on her helmet up there that you would actually see through. So you can see here it actually selected a part of the background, and I don't want that, so I'm going to hit my Option key, and we're going to go in there, and you can see how intuitive, how it just pretty much will snap to the subject. Go up, make sure there's not any extraneous. A lot of times in sports images, I've noticed that numbers and things like that will not get selected for some reason. Little white areas that get hidden, so you got to be careful with that. Now here's the area that I was talking about in her helmet that we would actually, you can see that we see through it. So we're going to make this selection here, hold down the Option key, and we're going to deselect that area so we will get fine tune a little bit more here by making my brush a little smaller. It's having a little more trouble with this area, and like I said, a lot of times I'll go in later on once they've ordered off of something and sort of fine tune it. We do save everything in layers in case I need to go back and fine tune or do anything later on. Okay, so now we've got our selection. It looks pretty good. I'm going to go up and hit the Refine Edge, and you'll see it'll show you. Now by view, you can change what you see. So you can see here what's going to be extracted, what you're going to see, what you're not. So you can see up there it's got a little bit of area that I'm probably going to have to get rid of, and right in here. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's actually pretty good. So we're going to go on and select. I don't see any major areas. One thing you can go into is you can go on and help the selection by going back over an area, and it'll kind of sort of refocus its attention on that area to give you a little bit better cut. I mean, I shot this image on black or on a dark brown background, so if I had been shooting on white or something like that, it would be a lot easier to extract, but sometimes I don't have that luxury. So we're going to say okay. So you can see again here with the mask, a lot of times in the highlights, you know, I'll lose a little bit of area and I just go back to the mask, select on a brush tool, and just bring some of that back in. Now, if this was for a finished product, you know, I would be taking a lot more care and time, you know, with making this selection really, 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 really fine-tuned. But I'm just trying to sort of get a proof out so the person can actually see what it's going to look like and potentially, hopefully, order off of it. Sometimes too, like for example, when we make the, I'll make on a dark background, we'll make the composite images where we have multi-layered, you know, sports. We call them creative action blends, where they're actually doing different things. We'll do quite a bit of, I don't really worry about it too much because they're going to be sort of blended, images are going to sort of be blended together as we're compiling them in a composite, but this is for the HDR image. So we kind of have to do a little better job than for some other things that we might do a little quicker. So we're going to actually open up the HDR image. This is a softball field, and I actually created this for the client last week, and they really, really liked it. So they haven't done their order yet, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to be one of these. So then you're going to just basically come in and position your image in there in the composite how you want it. Now for me, I ended up positioning it so a little bit of that helmet area was taken off. And you can see right now there's some sort of ghosting in that, and you can see a little bit of the dark area in that. So again, I just go in here, do a really, really quick swipe on it on the mask. Not to be perfect, but now if the background is darker, so, you know, that's the other thing is a lot of times if the background is darker, a lot of times this doesn't show, and it just actually, to me, sort of helps it blend with the background just a little bit better. For this one, not so much. We're going to throw a texture on it over in a minute, and that'll help. So one of the ways too to help these sort of blend together is to go ahead and do some layer effects on that file. So what you can do is do an inner glow with sort of mask the lighting, so where I have those highlights already, we can actually see kind of what it's doing here, and then drop it down to soft light, and okay, now let's see what, you know, it looks like a little bit. So it gives her a little sort of more of the backlit kind of feel. It helps those images sort of blend together. Sometimes you can do, sometimes I've done ones that have more of a night shot or a night look or a real warm glow to it. So one of the things you can do on that is actually go in here into color overlay and take, you know, a color that's somewhat in the image, and then hit soft light. drop it down, and then it gives it a little bit of, you know, the color hue that's in the background. You know, a lot of times when I shoot things in the studio, and especially if it's a night or a dusk thing, it does the color and the quality doesn't match. So that's a real quick way to help the color out. I don't think this really needs it because they're both sort of bright, colorful kind of things. But I'm going to go ahead and close this extraction here. So now, once we've done that, there's some things. Sometimes I'll add to the background. I'll actually add some flare effects or some lighting, especially if it's like indoors in a basketball arena or something like that. But one of the things we can do here is I feel like this is a really good way to start blending them. I'm going to go ahead and I always keep everything, so if I have to go back to something, but I can actually duplicate both of these layers. I'm going to turn this that layer off because I want to save it just in case later on I need to go back to that extraction. Like I said, I didn't do a really great job, so I want to keep it for later. We're going to go ahead and meld these two together, and then what I'll do a lot of times is go ahead and do some little dodging and burning here or there. I like to do a lot in the gradient tool, and I set the mode to soft light, and then pass these somewhere in the 30s and set it to black, and then we'll start sort of doing a little burning here. So to me it sort of helps meld those two images together. You can see here the difference. Gotta watch your arm. I'm getting her arm a little too red there. Let's go back in the history. Whoops. So we'll go here and do a little. But to me, a lot of times that will actually sort of help meld two things together a little bit better. And then we're going to go in now, and I'm going to actually open up one of the Dud's worn textures. We'll go ahead and we're going to pop it on there. This will help a lot too. These texture overlays help sort of meld things together. And it can also help meld two various colors together, because now we're going to sort of have a color overlay when we drop this down here to the soft light blending mode. And when I do this, it's going to be way too warm for my taste. But so you can see there, it's kind of giving an effect. I actually kind of like the warm for this one. But if you don't want that warm effect to it, you can just go in and take that same layer and just take the saturation out, and then basically then you won't be adding any color to it, you'll just be adding texture. So let's go in and get a closer look at this texture. So you can kind of see, now it's on her face, so I really probably don't want that. So the best way to do that is to go in and make a selection around any area that you really don't want the texture to appear on. I'm going to feather it a bit here, and then do a blur. So that heavy blur is just going to basically get rid of that texture. So let's look at this if we didn't have the blending mode on. So you see normal. See how that's now the texture's all gone where you did the blur. So we're going to go back to soft light. So, and there you have it. There's our image finished. And we've made an HDR composite with a studio shot and an outdoor setting. Thanks. We'll see you next time.